نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه وبعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا زدنا علما آمين يا رب العالمين. So here we are with our lesson number 31 of our study of Ilm al-Nahu. So let's continue with our Fi'l Mudari, and today inshallah we are going to see the rules about making the Fi'l Mudari into Mansoob and Majzoom forms. So let's start. Bismillah. We have already done the chart for Fi'l Madi Ma'loom. Let's revise the Sarf Sahih chart and the Sarf Kabir for Sarf Kabir chart for Fa'ala, the Fi'l Madi, Fa'ala, he did. So all the sigas are given here for huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, humna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, and nahnu. You must have been familiar about this pronoun chart. So we did the fa'il madi malum for the pronoun chart. So huwa fa'ala, huma fa'ala, hum fa'alu, هي فعلت هما فعلتا هن فعلنا أنت فعلت أنتما فعلتما أنتم فعلتم أنت فعلتي أنتما فعلتما أنتن فعلتن أنا فعلت نحن فعلنا. So, as I have already encouraged you, and I've always encouraged you to repeat the charts for all the sigas and for all the fi'l madi and mudari which we have been learning, because the repetition is very important to have a solid foundation on these topics. In the same way, we did the Fi'li Madi Malum for Nasra, the family one. We have we have been starting with our self studies, and this is the pronoun chart for Nasra Fi'li Madi Malum, and we have learned about the file. We know that the Hua and Hiya version have the mean mustatir taqdiru Hua, the inside towards the wa and the here inside it, while the others have the mir baris, or you can say the ism zahir, or here we know that these are all the files that are known or that are visible. This is not a file, you know that this is haftatanis, this is Nur Niswa, and we know that these are the ta filing, this is noon file, na file, and you know that in the same way we know that this is the alif, this is the file here, the wow file here. So here these are all the files which are visible. Only for Hua and Hiya version, you know that the Mir Musaddad Taqdiruhu Hua, we will do the Iraq for like this. So فعل ماضي معلوم نصر نصرا نصروس. This is a Kabir for Nasara. The فعل ماضي معلوم نصرت نصرتا نصرنا نصرتا نصرتما نصرتم نصرتي نصرتما نصرتنا نصرتو نصرنا. So you can see the highlighted words. These are all the file. Then in the same way, we did the فعل ماضي معلوم for this pronoun chart. هو يفعل يفعلان يفعلون تفعلوا تفعلان يفعلنا أنت تفعل أنتما تفعلان أنتم تفعلون أنت تفعلين أنتما تفعلان أنتن تفعلن أنا أفعل نحن نفعل. We learn about the أفعال الخمسة, and we know that for فعل ماضي معلوم we have to be careful about the startings and the endings. We should notice that as I mentioned to you, the four letters, the amna'id, and we did this word, we memorized this word, the ait, the noon, the hamza, the ya, the ta. We have to be careful when we are just locating or when we are finding the fi'l mudari ma'loom anywhere. So here, unlike the fi'l madi, in which we should be careful about the endings, here we need to be careful about the startings as well. And we know that this is the marfu chart. We know that the subutun noon is the for afal al khamsa is the presence of the noon is telling us that is the marfu form. And we know that this is the dhamma, and we know that this is this again the noon, the ya mukhataba is also among the signs of the marfu state. So here, this is the noon, all the noon. You can see here, the subutu noon is you can say the sign of the marfu. So let's continue with our fairly mudare, that it can take different status or forms. As I mentioned to you today, we are going to learn about how to make the fairly mudare, mansoob and majzoom. And it is unlike fairly madi, which never changes its forms, and it is always mabni al sukun, mabni, then mabni al fatha, and just like that, we have learned about it. And faile madi, about faile madi, that never changes its form, it's always mabni. So let's see about faile mudari, that how it can change its form. It has three forms that are mafu, mansoob, and the majroor. So we know that Majzoom, sorry, it is Majzoom. There is a typo here. It is Majzoom. So فعل مضارع مرفوع, فعل مضارع منصوب, فعل مضارع مجزوم. Here it is فعل مضارع مجزوم. So these are the three signs: مرفوع, منصوب, and مجزوم. So we know that all the as I mentioned to you here, you can see in the chart, as I told you, that the fi'l madi never changes its form. It is always mabni. It can be mabni al fatha, mabni al damma, mabni al dam, mabni al sukoon. So, inshallah, we are going to do the i'rab for this fi'l madi as well. Now, you can see here, as I mentioned to you, as we are learning about the marfu, mansoom, and majzoom form, and we know that the about the afal al khamsa, that all the afal al khamsa end with the noon in the rafa state, and that is called the noon al i'rab. All right, this is Noon al-I'rab. Since its presence determines their status to be Rafa, they all end with Noon al-I'rab, or Noon of status, you can say. And the presence of the Noon indicates that the status of these are the Rafa, the Marfu, and the default state is always Rafa. Remember that. Default state is always Rafa for both Asma and Afal. We have been learning about the Asma, and we have already did for faile mudari malum, the marfu state, that the default state is always rafa for afal and asma. Just remember that. And signs of faile mudari, for marfu form is that for afal al khamsa is sabutun noon, marfu sabutun noon. And we can add when we'll do Arab, we know that it's li'annahu min al afal al khamsa, we are going to write that. So in the case of Afal Khamsa, which have the dual and the plural and the second person feminine the pronouns, presence of noon at the end of the word is a sign of the rafa state. So remember that the marfu in all these afal, the marfu is due to the noon. This is the noon on Arab. All right, this is noon on Arab. So here you can see now, you are well aware of the marfu, or the normal state, the default form of the fi'l mudari, when there is no harf affecting it. When there is no harf affecting it. All right. So should be careful about that. When there is no harf or nothing before the fi'l mudari, it should be marfu. When I say that the fi'l mudari, when there is no harf affecting it, it is a default form of, or the normal form of the fi'l mudari, the marfu form. So you can recall that when it comes to, when we were learning about the ism, there are certain huruf like huruf jar or huruf nasab that can come before the ism, and it can change its status. Like it can make it in the state of nasab or in the state of jar, respectively, when they are tied with huruf of jar or nasab. And similarly, there are certain huruf, you can say, that can come before the fi'l mudari and affect it, and it can change its status. And it does not apply to fi'l madi, as I mentioned to you, because it is mabni, and it never changes. If even if some You can say huruf come before fi'l madi, but still it doesn't affect its status. It will remain mabni al fatha, depending on the word, which is either it is mabni al fath or mabni al dam or mabni al sukun. Inshallah, we are going to learn about that as well. And we have already done this subject in, or this topic in our balagha studies, balagha session, and in our the advanced Arabic. You can go through the videos and you can find the topic about the Fa'il Madi, the three states of Fa'il Madi: Mabni, Mabni al Fath, Mabni al Dam, and Mabni al Sukun. We have done this in Mulhatul Arab. You can go find the session of the Mulhatul Arab, and we have done this. And inshallah, we are going to do in our Ilm Nahu as well. So, Fa'il Mudari, as I mentioned to you, it can have the normal state, the marfu, the light state, the mansub, the majzoom state, the lightest. So, normal marfu, this is the default form of the file when there is no harf affecting it. No harf of jar, no harf of nasab, nothing before it. So, it is the marfu form. All right. So, what about the light when it is mansub? This is the form of the fail takes when affected by the huruf nasibal lil mudari. All the huruf that are huruf nasb for fail mudari that can affect the fail mudari, and they can make the word fail mudari into mansoob form. And we will see that how a fail mudari can be changed into mansoob or the light state. Then there is the lightest state, or we can call it the majzoom state of the fail mudari, and it happens when this form, when the fail takes when it is affected by the huruf jazma or huruf jazm for the fail mudari. The huruf, inshallah, we are going to learn about them. The huruf jazma, when they can make a fail mudari into majzoom state. So we are going to learn about these huruf nasaba and huruf jazma when they make the fail mudari into the majzoom and the mansoob state. Inshallah. So let's see. There are a few of the huruf nasaba lil mudari and huruf jazma lil mudari that I have mentioned here. حروف ناصبة أن لن كي حتى لام التعليل فا السببية and لام الجهود. Inshallah, we are going to learn them one by one, and we will have separate sessions for each of these حروف ناصبة as we'll progress in this ilm nahu. And حروف جازمة, there is in حرف الشرط جازم, لم, لما, لا, نهيا, لام الأمر. It can be in the form of li, wal, and fal. Inshallah, we are also going to learn about them as well. So, rules to make a fail mudari mansoob, or the light, not the lightest, but the light form. So, as the name suggests, mansoob, that means it can be made a light. The fail mudari can be made light only when the huruf nasba are attached before it. The prefixes, the huruf nasba, when they are attached with the fail mudari, it can make a fail mudari mansoob. So, what are the rules to make it? How you are going to make a fa'il mudari mansoob. If it ends with a dhamma, there are few things to remember while making a fa'il mudari mansoob. And when you are going to make it mansoob, when you see a harf of nasab before a fa'il mudari. If it ends with in a dhamma, change it to a fatha. All right. The first thing that you are going to do, if you see a a harf of nasab before a fa'il mudari, then if it has a dhamma, change it into a fatha. It will be in the light form. It will be mansoob. The next thing is, if it ends in a noon, it is ending with a noon, drop the noon. All right, drop the noon. It will be changed into mansoob. That fail mudari will be changed into mansoob. It will be in the light form. The last thing is the hunna and antunna version. You know that we are not going to mess up with the women. Remember the hunna and the antunna versions. We know that their forms always remain the same. They will not change, even if they are preceded by a harf of nasab. All right. So there are three rules to remember. If a fail mudari ends with a dhamma, you see a harf of nasab before it, change it into a fatha. The next thing, if your fail mudari ends with a noon, drop the noon if you see a harf of nasab before it. The last thing is the hunna and anduna, the women versions. They will not change the form and they will remain the same, even if they are preceded by a harf of nasab. All right, so here we learned about the file mudari marfu chart. We know that the marfu remains the same, all the versions remain the same, and there is no change because they are the default state. All right, so here huwa yafalu for fail mudare, always be careful about the startings and the endings. You see, there are three. You can see there the u, the dhamma ending, and you can also see the noon endings here. So when we are doing it for fail mudare mansoob, we are going to change this dhamma into fatha. We are going to drop this noon. The hunna and antunna versions remain the same. Yafalna, tafalna, and this will remain for all the words or all the verbs. All right. So here only these are two. The Dhamma will change into Fatha and Noon is going to drop in the Fail Mudhari Mansoob char. This is the Marfu. Wa yafalu, yafalani, yafaluna, hiya tafalu, huma tafalani, hunna yafalna. Anta tafalu, antuma tafalani, antum tafaluna, anti tafalina, antuma tafalani, antuna tafalna, ana afalu, nahnu nafalu. So let's see the Fail Mudhari Mansoob, how you are going to write it down. And this is Maloom. ويفعلا. All right. So see, the dhammas are changed into the fathas. All right. The dhammas are changed into the fathas and all the noons are dropped. All right. So هو يفعل هما يفعلا هم يفعلوا هي تفعل هما تفعلا هن يفعلنا. No change in hunna version. أنت تفعل أنتما تفعلا أنتم تفعلوا أنت تفعلي أنتما تفعلا أنتن تفعلنا. No change in the أنتن version. أنا أفعل نحن نفعل. So this is the الفعل مضارع معلوم منصوب chart. Here you know that this is vowel جماعة and this is ألف الفارقة to differentiate it between vowel أصلية and vowel Al Jamaa, and in Alhamdulillah, we have done this in a separate session. You can go to the videos and find out about this video where we have defined and differentiated between the vowel Jama, vowel Asliya, and this Alif Al Farqa is also explained in that one. Alhamdulillah. So here there are some examples from the Quran where you can see the Fail Mudari, Mansoob, Maloom. Here you can see ولا تجعلوا الله عرضة لأيمانكم أن تبروا and tabarru. You can see here an is harf of nasab. Tabarru, you can see here the noon is dropped here. As I mentioned to you, the original versions will all have the noon here and they were all dropped and an alif al farika was added to differentiate between vowel jama and vowel asliya, and they all words are, because you can see here this is preceded by a harf of nasab. Wow, Atif, you know that harf of at, it is joining and you know that it will affect. We have already done this. It will affect all the words after this because it will follow the status of the first word, which is preceded by the harf of nasab. So tabarru and tabarru, wa tattaku, wa tuslihu, they are all changed into, and the noon is dropped. Tabarru, tattaku, tuslihu. So here this is preceded by the harf of nasab and it is the noon is dropped in all of these. All right, so here you can see the next example, lan tanalu. Here again, you can see the harf of nasab here, tanaluna. You notice here the noon is dropped here. You can see here hatta tunfikuna. Tunfikuna here again is noon is dropped hatta because this is harf of nasab and because it is preceded by a harf of nasab, the noon is dropped here and alif al farqa is added. All right. So lan tanalu, you know that nala yanalu, it is formed the nala yanalu verb, and you know they never will be attained the good reward until you spend in the way of Allah. So here you can see learn and the are the harf of nasab and they are making the fi'l mudari ma'lum marfu into mansoob form. Kai again kai yusabbihaka yusabbiha sabbaha yusabbihu nusabbihu yusabbihu nusabbihu. So here the ha is not having a dhamma. It will have a fatha because the kai is harf of nasab is preceded before it. So it is because it has a harf of nasab before it. So it is the dhamma is changed into the fatha. Lan nasbira sabara yasbiru, or you can see here nasbiruna, here nasbiru. So here the fatha is the dhamma is changed into the fatha lan nasbira. Nasbiru, nasbira. lan nasbira. Here, this is the harf of nasab and it is changed into the fatha. All right. So here you can see all the examples from the Quran where the harf of nasab is before the words, before the fa'il mudari, marfu forms, and they are changed into the mansoob form. وَإِذْ يَا مُوسَى لَن نَصْبِرَ عَلَىٰ طَعَامٍ. So here you can see this is preceded by a harf of nasab. So dhamma will be changed into a fatha. Alhamdulillah. So these are the simple examples from the Quran that we did when the fi'l mudari is preceded by a harf of nasab, and this is how you're going to change. There are only two rules or three rules that you need to remember. The dhamma will change into fatha. The noon is going to drop for all the afal al-khamsa. And also remember that hunna and intura versions will not change. They will remain the same, inshallah. So this is it for today, inshallah. We will continue for the Fa'il Mudari Majzoom in the next lesson, inshallah. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Barakallahu li wa lakum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.